Chapter 35. The next morning, I went to see Yuki and told him the kids were now out of danger. He blinked, stunned. Wait, really? You're serious? I nodded. Yup, all 5 of them are safe now. No more danger, no more ticking clocks. Yuki stared at me like I'd just handed him the secret to world peace. That's amazing, but how? What did you do? I gave him a slow, smug smile. That's a secret, he groaned. Rimuru. I leaned in a little, resting a finger on my lips. You really shouldn't try to pry into a lady's secrets, Yuki. It's bad manners, you know. Yuki just stared at me for a long moment, then sighed. Okay, I won't ask. I smiled. Good choice. Since I'd saved the kids, there was no real reason to hang around much longer. Still, I didn't leave right away. I ended up staying in Ingrasia for about a week just to make sure the kids were really okay. Their conditions stabilized quickly, and their spirits began settling in properly. It was nice, honestly. Peaceful. For once, there were no sudden attacks, no time limits, no world-ending stakes, just quiet mornings, meals together, and the occasional round of chaos when Kenya tried to act cool and tripped over his own feet. Yuki, to his credit, didn't press me any further. He even arranged for a new instructor to take over for the kids, someone trustworthy, from what I could tell. Eventually, though, the time came. I had done what I came for. And now, it was time to go home. It was the day of my departure. You're leaving, Miss Rimuru? Chloe asked softly, her hands clutching the hem of her dress. I gave her a gentle smile. I've got people waiting for me back home, after all. You can't make them wait any longer, Chloe, Kenya added, trying to sound mature. No, but I mean, Chloe's voice wavered, but she was trying so hard not to cry, and honestly, I wasn't feeling much better myself. I'd grown fond of them over that week. But hey, I had spatial motion now. I could come visit whenever I wanted. This wasn't the end. Haha, you're such a crybaby, Chloe. I crouched down to her level. Here, how about something to cheer you up? I removed the mask from my stomach, Shizu's mask, the mask of magic resistance. It had once broken, but I'd restored it. A part of me still remembered the moment I inherited it, the weight of Shizu's wish. I wasn't sure what drove me to hand it over. It just felt right. Chloe looked at it with wide eyes. Can I? Really? I nodded. It suits you better now. Keep it safe, okay? She accepted it without hesitation, hugging it to her chest like it was the most precious thing in the world. Ah, I wanted it too. Alice pouted. He, it's all mine now. Chloe giggled through her tears, her smile finally returning. I laughed softly. I'll come visit soon, so behave, all of you. Meanwhile, I had one last surprise for them: school uniforms. Shuna had kindly prepared them just in case. Ah, Chloe gasped, eyes lighting up as I laid out the neatly folded clothes. Are these for us? Alice asked, already reaching for hers. I nodded. They're the same as the ones worn by students here in the academy, but these are custom-made, stitched with a special fabric from Tempest. Tough enough to handle your energy. Kenya, Gale, and Ryota each took theirs with wide grins. The excitement in their eyes was hard to miss. This is so cool. They all changed into their new uniforms right away, proudly showing them off. I crossed my arms and gave them a warm look. Now listen, I want you all to keep studying hard, all right? This isn't goodbye forever. I'll be back to check on you, and when you're on break, come visit my country. Okay, they shouted in unison, standing at attention like it was a solemn promise. Their teary eyes had turned to bright smiles by the time I said my final farewell. And with those smiles still fresh in my mind, I turned and quietly left the capital of Englesia behind. Taking my leave of Yuki and the children, I reached the outskirts of the city. The path ahead was quiet. The wind was gentle. It felt like the perfect moment to go home. I raised a hand, channeling magic for spatial motion. Nothing happened. I blinked. Tried again. Still nothing. Seal. Less than you're currently enveloped in a long-range barrier that suppresses spatial intervention skills beyond its boundary. Greater than, she replied smoothly, already waiting with the answer before I even finished the question. Lady Rimuru, you must flee at once. A figure materialized ahead of me, Soe's replication. He was on one knee, trembling, his body already flickering at the edges. Soe, what happened? Enemies, my lady, ones far beyond anything I could imagine. He didn't even finish the sentence. His form dissolved like mist, vanishing on the wind. I stared at the empty space he left behind. Quote. That replication had almost the same strength as his real body, didn't it? I clenched my fist. That wasn't an ordinary defeat. Something must have caught even him by surprise. I called out instinctively, Ranga. Silence. I tried again, reaching deeper into the shadow where he usually waited. Nothing. Ciel's voice came gently, but even she sounded tense. Less than this barrier is a high-grade spatial division type. It severs all external connections. Greater than. Quote. So I really am sealed in here. Less than yes. Not even Ranga can cross through. You're completely isolated. Greater than. My heart skipped. That creeping unease I'd been ignoring surged into full-blown dread. Someone was doing this on purpose. And they knew exactly what they were doing. Ciel, can I still use my skills inside the barrier? Less than yes. Internal interference appears unrestricted. Greater than. Quote. Good. Then I'll set some insurance just in case. Less than already prepared. Just give the signal. Greater than. Perfect. I exhaled slowly, my expression calm, but my nerves were taut beneath the surface. I snapped my hand forward, trying to conjure a flame. Nothing. Not even a spark. A chill ran down my spine. Less than all magic-oriented skills are currently being suppressed within the barrier. Greater than. Magic-oriented. That describes everything. All my elemental skills, my magical manipulation, dark flame, dark thunder, sticky steel thread, even basic control type techniques. I gritted my teeth. My entire combat style was built around manipulating magicals. Without them, I was fighting blind. This kind of barrier wasn't even there during the Sky Dragon attack. Back then, even in the middle of chaos, I could still fire off spells. But this wasn't just suppression. Time passed slowly. The silence inside the barrier was oppressive, like the world itself had stopped breathing. Then, hello, a soft voice cut through the stillness. I turned. A woman stood there. No, she had always been there, hadn't she? Just waiting for the right moment to be seen. I suppose this is the first time we've met, she said, calm and composed. It'll be goodbye before long, though. Chilling confidence. She stood alone, completely unarmed. But everything about her posture, her poise radiated danger. She looked around 20, though something told me age meant little with someone like her. Her beauty was striking, almost otherworldly, but what caught me was her eyes. Icy cold, yet blindingly sharp. They glimmered with something ancient intelligence so deep it could drown you. Her shiny, beautiful black hair shimmered under the filtered light. It was cut just above the shoulders, sleek, clean, and sharp. The strands were combed down and tucked back neatly on her right side, while the left flowed freely, just enough to brush against her cheek, almost hiding her eye. Almost. That left eye, half concealed, was framed by a delicate monocle, though she removed it without hesitation, tucking it into her coat pocket like it meant nothing. Fashion, maybe, or something more. Her clothing was stark white, elegant yet practical. Loose-fitting, easy to move in, it reminded me of formal business wear, but stylized, tailored to accentuate authority. A short skirt revealed long, slender legs wrapped in sheer black stockings. But over all of it, she wore a white robe, pristine and ceremonial. It looked like something a high-ranking cleric might wear. And on her collar, shining like polished silver, was a cross. The Western Holy Church, I muttered under my breath. That cross wasn't just decoration. Ciel's voice murmured in her mind, smooth and composed but with a distinct edge of seriousness. Less than based on Shizu's memories, that's Hinata Sakaguchi. Greater than. Hello, my name is Rimuru, I said casually. For a moment, there was silence. Then Hinata's voice cut through it, flat and cold. I don't talk to monsters. Ah, so that's how it was. I felt something flicker in my chest. Not rage, just disappointment. Deep and quiet, but I didn't let it show. Not to her. I care not for the words of monsters, she coldly replied. Then, without warning, she struck. Her blade flashed like lightning. The air shrieked with pressure. I barely managed to move in time, the tip grazing my cheek as I twisted out of its path. If my nervous system weren't directly fused to my brain, I wouldn't have made it. Sucks that they took magic sense from me. Wait, you're Japanese, aren't you? Me too, I called out, backpedaling fast. My name was Satoru Mikami. I died and reborn as monster. But she wasn't listening. I'm a little surprised you dodged that, Hinata said, not even winded. Her eyes stayed cold, unreadable. I suppose you really are the monster who killed my teacher. Her blade shifted. I tensed, preparing for the next strike. Quote. But revenge will be mine soon. I froze. A sharp breath caught in my chest. She thought. She asked me to protect you. I tried again. She passed everything on to me. Hinata's eyes narrowed. A monster being Japanese. Miss Shizu asking a favor of you. Her voice was like ice cracking under pressure. How ridiculous. Then she scoffed, cold and cutting. Don't make me laugh. So that's the story you're going with. Pretending to be Japanese, just as my informant warned. My breath caught. Informant. Someone told her that I'm both Japanese and a monster. My mind whirled through the possibilities and then it clicked. Wait. No. Don't tell me. Yuki. He knew. I told him. Not just about being Japanese, but about Shizu, the kids, everything. He smiled when I left. Told me goodbye like nothing was wrong. Less than. So that's how it is, master. Greater than Seal whispered, her voice low and cool. Less than we've been played. Greater than. I grit my teeth. Yuki. Of course Hinata wouldn't believe me, not if she heard everything first from him. And now I had no choice. I raised my hands slightly, trying to de-escalate. I didn't come here to fight. I came because Shizu asked me to protect her students. I'm not your enemy, Hinata. No reply, just silence and then, a smile. A faint, bewitching curve of her lips. Without a word, she tilted her head, and whispered something I couldn't catch. The next moment, flash, a rainbow of colors exploded from the tip of her rapier, trailing brilliant arcs as they sliced through the air with blinding speed. A supersonic slash, beautiful and terrifying. What? I moved to dodge, but something was off. My body felt heavy, like I was moving through mud. My limbs weren't responding fast enough. She's suppressing my physical abilities. 3 slashes carved into me before I could fully react, each one sending a wave of pain through me unlike anything I'd felt since becoming a monster. I staggered back, clutching my side as my vision flared red. That hurt. Wait, pain. But I have cancel pain. Less than master. This technique is based on spiritual arts. It directly damages the soul, bypassing physical resistances and nullification skills such as cancel pain. Greater than. Ciel's voice remained calm, but the gravity in her tone was unmistakable. Less than, this is not standard magic. She is striking at your very essence. The soul itself. Greater than. Soul damage. So that's why everything felt so raw. The wounds weren't just on my body, they were cutting deeper than that. Into the core of what I was. I can't let this drag on. One mistake and it's over. You are cornered, Hinata declared, her rapier glinting with divine light. This holy field prevents monsters ranked below from even taking action. It is the ultimate anti-monster barrier, the pride of the Western Holy Church. I could feel it, the pressure, the suppression. It was like someone tied weights to every limb and turned the air into syrup. Just standing took effort. First the hero's seed, now this ridiculous barrier. What is this, a full stack debuff run? Is someone speedrunning my suffering? Less than master. Estimated combat capability down 74%. Soul stability decreasing. Greater than. Yeah, thanks, Seal. I feel great. Less than, you are welcome. Shall I begin calculating ways to kill her anyway? Greater than. But even as the pain pulsed deep in my core, even as my magic and skills were being suppressed into silence. I still couldn't bring myself to kill her. She was Shizu's student, someone Shizu once smiled for. She's being misled, that's all. Tricked into thinking I'm the villain here. So I'll prove it to her. Not with words, she's not listening to those. But with strength. Not to destroy, but to stop her. To make her listen. Seal, prepare full analysis. I'm not going for the kill, I just need one clean opening. Less than understood, master. Deploying Mathano. Beginning analysis and mimicry of target's sword style. Greater than. The world around me sharpened. Every twitch of her fingers, every shift of her weight, was calculated, mapped in real time, filtered through Ciel's calm mind. She was feeding me patterns, movements, the structure behind Hinata's technique. But even with that, clang, her blade came down like lightning. I blocked it, barely, the impact forcing me to slide back across the stone. My arms trembled. Even mimicking her style, I couldn't match her experience. She was fast, precise, and utterly ruthless. Her every attack wasn't just a strike, it was an attempt to end the battle in a single blow. Less than, her technique is refined to the point of instinct. Even with mimicry, she holds a significant advantage in actual combat with speed and efficiency. Greater than. Yeah, no kidding. Her rapier danced again once, twice, 3 times. I dodged the first, parried the second, but the third grazed my cheek, cutting deeper than it should have. TCH. She was still overwhelming, even suppressed, even restricted, even with Seal at my side. I was fighting uphill, but that was fine, because I wasn't fighting to win. I was fighting to endure until I could reach her. Until I could break through her illusion and make her see me. Her blade swept toward me again, a flickering arc of silver that cut the air with terrifying elegance. I ducked low, spinning beneath it, then twisted around to deflect the follow-up thrust with the flat of my blade. Sparks flew as metal scraped against metal. She didn't stop. A flurry of rapid thrusts followed, unrelenting, precise, dancing around my defenses like a storm of needles. I grit my teeth, every movement pushed to its limit. Even with Seal feeding me real-time counters and angles, I had no room to breathe. Her attacks flowed like a river, cold, smooth, and merciless. I twisted just in time to catch the next blow against my guard, skidding backward from the force. She was stronger than she looked, each strike laced with lethal purpose. But I didn't falter. I can't falter. Hinata, listen to me already. Still no answer. Just the quiet shift in her stance, then another burst of movement, impossibly fast, almost elegant in its precision. I stepped in, sword raised, and caught the blow with a loud clash of steel. It rattled through my bones, but I held firm. She was trying to end it quickly. Every blow was precise, measured, decisive. But I had no intention of letting it end her way. Not until she heard the truth. Our swords clashed once more, just barely. I braced myself, forcing Hinata's blade away with a twist of my wrist. The rhythm of the fight was merciless, unrelenting. And then, less than, urgent report. Master, very strong presence detected nearby. Greater than. Ciel's voice cut through the tension, sharper than any blade Hinata had swung. Less than, stronger than Beastmaster Carrion. Greater than. I froze just for a moment. It was all I had time for. Don't tell me it's a demon lord. Less than, yes. This reaction matches stored parameters of a high-tier demon lord class individual. Greater than. Seriously, right now. The clash of blades echoed through the air, steel screaming against steel. Less than. Master. Source of the presence is observing from the large tree, 20 meters northwest. Greater than. I risked a glance, just a flick of my eyes. A tree, that pressure's coming from there. The towering oak stood silent in the distance, its leaves still despite the wind. But I could feel it now. Someone or something was watching from its shade. Powerful, patient. What kind of demon lord hides in a tree? Less than unknown. But they are not intervening, yet. Greater than. That brief flicker of distraction was enough. A shimmer of movement in front of me, Hinata's blade. Too late. Pain flashed white-hot across my side as the rapier found its mark again, slicing a diagonal line across my abdomen. My breath caught. I stumbled, sliding back, barely raising my sword in time to block the follow-up strike. Still watching. Whoever you are, you picked one hell of a time to show up. I exhaled sharply, steadying my breath. TCH. No more messing around. This wasn't the time for hesitation, not with someone like Hinata in front of me, and a demon lord watching from the shadows. I had to end this. I adjusted my grip. Everything in me shifted. The moment our blades met again, it was different. My movements sharper, cleaner. Every step carried purpose. Every swing was tighter, more refined. I wasn't just reacting anymore, I was reading her. Matching her rhythm, twisting it to my advantage. Even Hinata's expression shifted for a heartbeat. Just a flicker, but I saw it. She knew the pace had changed. I wasn't going to lose. Not here, not to her, and definitely not while someone in that tree was watching. I wasn't aiming to win by overpowering her. I just needed an opening, one clean shot at the hilt to knock her weapon free. Dash. Hinata struck again, swift and precise. I moved with it, let her blade slide past harmlessly, angling for her sword's hilt with mine, but she twisted just out of reach. Close, so close. Still, full synchronize was working. It wasn't a skill, not in the normal sense. Just something I came up with, slowly refining it in secret. Quietly testing it out whenever I had the time between duties, training, moments alone. Ciel's auto mode was already powerful. With her guiding my body, every movement was precise. Calculated, efficient, but it had a limit. Ciel was cautious. She'd always check with me before making risky or aggressive decisions, especially anything that might carry serious consequences. It made auto mode safe, but in a battle like this, that small delay could cost me. So I created this. A state where our consciousnesses merged, her mind and mine, perfectly aligned. Not handing over control, but combining my instincts, her calculations, my resolve, her logic, acting as one, thinking as one, full synchronize. The result, sharper movement, better timing, and no hesitation, and best of all, I was still the one making the choices. Clang, our blades met again, but this time, I didn't flinch. My body moved with quiet precision, my expression a blank canvas. No wasted motion, no delay, just calm, calculated response. I watched her, not her weapon, not her speed, but the rhythm behind her strikes. Hinata's thrusts were sharp, practiced, deadly. But now I saw them for what they were. I've seen this pattern, that footwork, that faint twitch in her shoulder. Thanks to Matheno, every clash had been recorded, memorized. And with full synchronize, I wasn't just reacting. I was predicting. When she stepped in again, blade glinting in a flash of steel, mine was already there to meet it like I knew she'd choose that angle. A perfect parry. Hinata blinked. Just a flicker. A slight narrowing of her eyes. A silent surprise. She didn't say anything, but the pause in her stance said enough. You're realizing it now, aren't you? Not that I was faster. But that your sword was no longer yours alone. Even with the demon lord's presence pressing from the treeline behind us, I stayed focused. Balanced. My sword danced in harmony with hers, an imitation polished with every step. Her skill, refined into mine. And all the while, I said nothing. No challenge, no smile, just a quiet, unreadable stare. Like Seal, even with her technique mirrored and patterns memorized, landing a decisive blow was another matter entirely. Every time I aimed for her wrist or the base of her hilt, she slipped just out of reach, as if she knew exactly what I was planning. No, she does know. Her responses weren't coincidence, not instinct, they were deliberate. Is she predicting my moves, too? A skill like future sight, or something close? The more I fought, the more it felt like I was clashing with a reflection, two minds reading one another, canceling each other out. We were locked. I could probably disarm her if I used gluttony. One good chance, and I could pull the weapon straight from her hand. But, I glanced just for a fraction of a second toward the tree where that overwhelming presence still lingered, watching. Waiting. That one, whoever they are, they're stronger than Carrion. Revealing gluttony here would be too dangerous. One of my trump cards, casually exposed to an unknown demon lord. No, not worth it. I couldn't afford to show everything. Not now, not with eyes like that hidden in the shadows. So I fought on, and Hinata, she kept dancing just out of reach. This was more than a battle of blades. It was a battle of minds. My blade met hers again, steel singing in the air. No wasted movement, no faltering steps. I moved with perfect clarity, reflexes sharpened, judgment immediate. Her sword arced high, I angled just under it, countering before she even fully committed to the strike. Even so, then suddenly, a chill, not from Hinata, not from the air, from within, something inside me, fractured, ... The thread of connection to someone one of mine tugged taut, then vanished. Another followed, then another, one after the next, snapping like delicate silk threads, until Xian, gone. No, it couldn't be. These links, bonds to those I cared for, were part of me. Not illusions, not feelings, soul-level connections. And for one to disappear, only two possibilities: release, or death. A terrible stillness flooded my chest. That's when it happened. Her blade sliced across my side. Pain flared. The searing burn dug deep. My feet staggered slightly as I caught my balance. One more strike like that, and I'll be dead. I have to end this, and go back. My thoughts were spinning. Panic clawed at the edge of my mind, but I forced it down. I couldn't afford to lose control. Xian, everyone, what's happening over there? But I couldn't just leave. Not while trapped in this barrier. Not while Hinata stood before me, blade drawn. Not while that terrifying presence loomed from the shadows like a loaded crossbow, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Defeating Hinata was the only way to break free. But, is that presence her ally, or her enemy? I had no way of knowing. If it was on her side, then defeating her might provoke a second attack, one I wasn't ready for. If it was on my side, unlikely it was doing nothing to help. That figure's aura, if it came down to a one-on-one, maybe I could handle it. Just maybe, but not with Hinata at the same time. Damn it, No options. No exit. No second chances. I have to do something. Anything. Just as Hinata launched another precise thrust, her blade glowing with lethal energy, I made my move. Ifrit replication. Deploy. A burst of flame surged beside me. The replica wasn't anywhere near the real deal in power, but that wasn't the point. It only needed to look convincing. Hinata didn't flinch. Her gaze remained cool, unreadable. She simply shifted her stance, adjusting smoothly as the fiery clone intercepted her path. Perfect. While her attention was diverted, even for that brief moment, I dissolved into my slime form, slipping beneath the swirl of smoke and flame with practiced silence. In that same breath, I materialized a humanoid clone of myself in the exact position I'd just left. My replica stood beside the fire spirit, ready to keep up the illusion. A clean switch. She didn't look away from the fight. Didn't hesitate. But she hadn't noticed either. Just hold her off for a few seconds, that's all I need. Nestled low in the underbrush, unseen, I observed quietly, my heartbeat steady, my thoughts cold and clear. I didn't want to hurt her. I never did, but the fight had to end. And now, I had one chance to do it my way. From my concealed position beneath the brush, I watched as my clone and the Ifrit replica confronted Hinata head-on. She didn't hesitate. Her movements were sharp, merciless, still treating the clone as the real me. That was good. That's exactly what I needed. Just a little more. I kept still, suppressing my presence completely. The flame and illusion masked the swap well enough, and so far, Hinata hadn't caught on. She hadn't said anything, hadn't even paused. But the real danger wasn't just her. If she defeats the clone and believes I'm dead, she'll leave. And with luck, dispel the barrier too. That was the plan. Of course, there was still the mysterious presence hidden in the trees. Whoever they were, they hadn't made a move yet. Just watching, still, silent, which probably means they're not Hinata's ally, but whether they're my ally or my enemy is a whole different issue. I couldn't afford to gamble on that. Not now. For now, all I could do was wait and hope. Hope Hinata took the bait. Hope the barrier would vanish with her retreat. And pray that whatever was lurking in the shadows didn't take this moment to strike. Before my eyes, Ifrit was curled up into a ball, grabbing his head, as if struggling under the command of two diametrically opposed orders. I narrowed my focus. No. Not just struggling. He's being pulled. My clone stepped forward, eyes narrowing coldly. With a swift motion, she reclaimed Ifrit, absorbing him back into her body. He vanished in a wisp of flame, returning to safety. Did you try to take Ifrit from me? Hinata paused mid-step, her expression unreadable for a moment, then a faint, amused smile curled on her lips. I'm shocked. How did you know that? She replied evenly. But if you noticed it, I might as well tell you you're right. I tried, using my unique skill usurper. Usurper. I sucked in a sharp breath from the brush where I lay hidden, still listening through the clone's senses. She can take control of summoned spirits and demons. Or even, skills themselves. That was far too close to gluttony for comfort. A similar effect, but with a different method. So that's how she managed to wrestle Ifrit's control. If I had been even a moment slower, she could have seized him completely. This woman, she's dangerous. Not just powerful but tactically brutal, too. And now she thought she was on the verge of victory. Let her. For now. Hee. Are you telling me you still haven't given your all yet? Well, all right. I'll give you some of my all, too, so I hope you're ready. This blow is going to make the pain you've felt before seem like child's play. As the pressure mounted, I calmly slid my sword back into its sheath with a quiet click. The sound echoed louder than it should have. Hinata, I'm not your enemy, I said, meeting her fiery gaze without flinching. You're being misled. Whatever they told you about me, it's not the truth. Fighting me won't fix anything. But if you're still set on this, I'll take it seriously. We exchanged glances, hers burning with conviction, mine calm and unreadable through the clone's eyes. Die. Dead End Rainbow. Awaken Gluttony. A cascade of brilliant, rainbow-colored light exploded forth from her rapier, tracing 7 arcs of death across the air. My clone responded instantly. Gluttony activated not to devour Hinata, but the very attack that surged toward her. The forces collided midair with a blinding shockwave, a rift of light and shadow splitting the space between us. The glutton had been transforming my own physical body, as Hinata looked on in astonishment. This was no ordinary regeneration, it was a freshly harnessed, complete form of universal shapeshift in action. A power born from desperation, refined through countless trials, and now unleashed to its full potential. My body was no longer just mine, it was the culmination of every monster I had consumed, merged into a form sculpted solely for battle efficiency. A perfect machine, rebuilt not through magicals, but through consumption. The glutton's skill devoured the grass beneath me, the earth I touched, even the air around me. The barrier had stripped me of external energy. No magicals flowed freely here, but this form didn't need them. I wasn't recreating a magic-based body. I was reforging my own, piece by piece, absorbing the very environment to sustain myself. A countermeasure for situations where magic was sealed. A physical rebirth. Inside the holy field, I couldn't rely on magic. So I became something that didn't need it. Hinata stepped back, ever so slightly. Her expression didn't shift much, but her eyes, sharp and calculating, flickered for just a second. That flicker told me everything. She was surprised, maybe even rattled, and I wasn't done yet. I can't believe it, Hinata whispered. But the surprise was fleeting, already gone from her face. What replaced it was a look of fascination, of clinical interest, like a scientist witnessing the birth of something unknown, something revolutionary. Her gaze was sharp, gleaming with a curiosity she could no longer hide. That last blow, dead-end rainbow, it should have severed my spirit from my body. It wasn't just a physical attack, it slashed the soul itself, a clean cut to end all resistance. But it didn't work, not because I resisted it, but because there was nothing there to sever. She understood now. The form before her was something far beyond a mere monster. Gluttony didn't have a spirit in the way she expected. It had no separate will, no ego. It wasn't a borrowed power, it was me, and I was it. A soul stripped of everything but the core essence. The absolute root of my existence, where man and monster meet, where instinct and reason fuse into one. A soul without embellishment, a raw origin. That's what she saw now. And for the first time, she hesitated. Hinata's face remained taut, her gaze never leaving me. Without a word, she extended her hand, and in response, several non-elemental spirits coalesced from the air itself, summoned by sheer force of will. They were faceless, formless masses of energy, but they obeyed her command without hesitation. At once, they rushed forward. Let me provide you a prayer to the divine. I hope and desire for the power of the Holy Spirits. Listen to my appeal and overcome all in your way. Disintegration. Her voice rang clear and solemn, like the invocation of a saint, yet her eyes burned with ruthless certainty. The spell circle flared open beneath her feet, no, beneath the glutton, and then erupted. A flash of white tore through the landscape. The divine energy surged in a straight line, not explosive but precise, pure, and absolute. A stream of destruction moving at near light speed, swallowing both body and soul in its wake. The glutton had no chance. There was no resistance to be made. It was simply gone unmade. Silence followed. Not even the echo of the spell lingered. It was that thorough. From my vantage point, I observed everything. The sequence, the chant, the formation, the flow of magicals, how she wove the holy energy into a narrow field of illumination that annihilated only the target and spared the surroundings. I recorded every last detail, every one. The failure of the clone was unfortunate, but I gained far more. Her expression remained guarded. Perhaps she truly believed she had won. That I was no more than a monster silenced by divine will. She turned her eyes away. I remained still in the brush, silent in my slime form. I copied it all, Hinata. And now I know what you can do. After Hinata finally turned and left, the holy field dispersed into harmless ether. I didn't move, not immediately. Still hidden in the underbrush, I shifted back into human form. As I did, I gently let go of full synchronize. My awareness and CLs slowly returned to their usual, separate rhythm. It was like exhaling after holding your breath. The mysterious presence was still out there, watching. But they hadn't acted, so I chose not to, either. They're staying quiet. I guess I will too. I had more pressing concerns. Tempest. I reached out with my magic, trying to activate warp portal, and felt it sputter out, like a match in the wind. TCH. Not now. Less than master, the portal won't work. Something is interfering, most likely a large-scale barrier surrounding Tempest. It's blocking all spatial targeting. Greater than, a barrier. Around all of Tempest. Less than, yes. And from the way it's constructed, it's meant to cut off outside help. I don't think this is a coincidence. Greater than. So Hinata was telling the truth. Someone really is trying to destroy everything. I clenched my fists. If I don't get back soon, there might not be anything to return to. Less than we need to move quickly, Master. Tempest might already be under attack. Greater than. Yeah, I know. I've already wasted too much time here. Even as I thought that, Ciel's voice reached me with calm clarity. Less than I'm searching for alternative teleportation points. There is one. The magic circle in the cave Gabble guards remains untouched. I can anchor to it. Greater than. A breath of relief passed through me. That cave might be far from the city center, but it was close enough. If I had to run from there to town, so be it, at least I'd be in Tempest. Then let's go, before it's too late. To be continued.